Hey everybody, my name is Garen and this is CitizenDiplomacy.net. I'm on a mission to talk to one person from every country in the world, and today we're talking to Vanessa from Tanzania. Vanessa, it fits perfectly in line with our mission of changing people's misconceptions about other countries. We talk in the interview about how people think of Africa as being like these, impoverished people in need of charity. But here's somebody who is a MTV VJ. She has her own radio program. She's a singer. She's an activist, runs her own charity. She's somebody who's just taken everything, every opportunity that she's had in life and just pushed it all the way to the fullest. Obviously, not everybody is MTV VJ in Tanzania, but she's just somebody that doesn't fit the normal narrative. And she was super fun to talk to. She was very gracious in giving me her time. She had her radio program starting just a few minutes after our interview, so she was able to squeeze in some time to talk with us. And the one thing I need to point out is that most of the time Skype is like one of the most amazing things ever. You can talk face to face with somebody on the other side of the world, but occasionally it can be a giant pain in the ass too. And today was kind of one of those days. I'm not going to complain about getting to talk to somebody at the set of their radio program in Tanzania face to face, but the video on my side went down, so we can only see Vanessa. I don't think that that's going to be a big problem for you guys, that you don't get to look at my ugly mug the whole time. But without further ado, here's Vanessa from Tanzania. A lot of fun talking to her, so I hope you enjoy it today. First of all, thanks so much for talking to me today.
Sure thing. Thank you for your interest.
I can't remember how I found out about you, but I was watching some of your videos online and reading some interviews with you, and the thing that I was so interested in is that in America, we have this idea of Africa of like, we see Africa on the commercials that are like, for only $1 a day, you can feed these children, and then here's you talking about, Africa is a place that's growing so fast, there's so much potential, and in your music, like, your music could just be music that we listen to on the radio here, You're singing about Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, right, exactly. It's so interesting that you bring that up about those infomercials. No, actually, they're not. That's not what you call them. But the pop-ups that come on American TV about, what you can do for a hungry child in Africa. My artist friend, Ice Prince, was recently out in the United States, and he basically made an Insta video of a situation in Tanzania, and there was a fact that every day over 500 children die in Tanzania below the age of 5. I'm like, where are they even getting these facts from? So it's time for us to just clarify all the myths, and if I can be an example of what the modern African is, then that's cool, even though I'm not your typical, but I fit in. So I'm the average African. Like, I'm living and hustling and trying to make my life better through music and, through performing art, and just, I'm passionate about everything that I do, and I do it so wholeheartedly, and I've been influenced by various cultures, having grown up all over. So, if I'm going to be among the many who change the stereotype, then I'm cool with that.
That's awesome. One thing that I think that people need to realize is that, like, this is a kind of a random example, but I read about this guy who had this idea where he was going to take 1 million T-shirts in the United States, get people to donate T-shirts, and then give them to people in Africa. And it ended up having a really negative effect on the economies that it was operating in, because you have all this free stuff. Like, they already have ways of clothing themselves. They're not walking around naked. They have, markets, and then now all of a sudden you have all these free goods that come in and ruins everything.
Were these secondhand T-shirts? Please tell me they weren't.
Yeah, exactly. They were. So it's like they don't want your hand-me-down garbage.
No, we don't. We don't, and it's this hand-me-down mentality that's really messing up a lot of development, and just I believe that some parts of the world in some parts of Africa and in some parts of developing Africa, aid is definitely necessary, but it can also be crippling to some extent. I remember watching a presentation, and um, I forget his name. The guy from Microsoft. What's his name? I'm forgetting.
Bill Gates.
That's him. Sorry, my bad. So Bill Gates was in Australia, and he was, at a forum, and he sat down with a bunch of like young Australians, and they were asking him a bunch of questions. And someone brought up the aid topic, and they brought up a very prolific African writer, economist, beautiful lady. What's her name? Why do I forget her name? Anyway, she basically has all these negative ideas about aid in Africa. And, I understood both sides of the story, but at the same time, we cannot be this in this generation. We have to understand the negative and positive impacts of what aid can do to individuals and larger economies and, just different countries. So I believe that personally, coming from Tanzania and having grown up the Tanzanian way, our culture encourages aid. It encourages hand-me-downs. It encourages assistance from thy neighbor, which is good and bad, because then it becomes crippling, because various people who are lazy and don't want to go out and fend for themselves, then they wait for hand-downs. And then, it's just, it's not the way forward. This is not what we came for. I believe that we're so much greater than that, and we can, by all means, take care of ourselves, because our industries are still untouched, and we have so much potential to grow, and we can use the examples that have worked in the Western world. So I obviously am not for aid like that.
Well, I think the thing too that people need to realize is that, like you said, there's so much potential there. So if you really want to help people, go start a business, or instead of treating Africa like a step down, treat them like partners. And the thing too is that in the United States, like, our economy is not doing very well here, and we have a ton of young people who are unemployed. So rather than us be on top, you guys be on the bottom, why don't we be partners in this, and we help each other? We start businesses and stuff, so we bring your country up, create jobs for us too, and then we'll both take steps forward together.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And I feel like it starts from the bottom, like lower level, like the idea of employment, self-employment is what we try to push in young people nowadays. I believe in the power of, fending for yourself. So as opposed to creating a society of people who go out into the world after their college degrees to try get jobs, we should create a future of people who are trying to create jobs. So I think this is happening a lot around us, around me at least. Like, most of my friends are self-employed. They created their own businesses in third world Africa. So, I get where you're coming from.
That's awesome. Well, I'll just ask you like one more question here, but
Sure.
talk to me about activism a little bit, because I know you're really involved, not just in the entrepreneurial side of things too, but getting your message out there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it started, and I just discovered this recently. The reason why I started to educate myself and young people about, first of all, HIV/AIDS, which is what I started with MTV Staying Alive and the UNAIDS, it really just started as almost even like, it was very casual. And I went on these travels with these young activists, and I just followed them around, and I wanted to document their stories because I thought they were amazing young people. And what started like that turned into me speaking at these amazing forums and high-level meetings about, awareness and using social media and different forms of media to kind of get young people involved, because the AIDS response had become a little slow, and we're used to hearing the same thing: use a condom, get tested, wada wada. But young people weren't actively participating in being the prevention revolution, the prevention revolution, as we call it. It's time to change the way we attack, HIV and AIDS, and the whole awareness and everything that it's around, as well as obviously the stuff that I'm doing with cervical cancer right now, and with Gabby in their mobilization of vaccinations for young women and girls around developing countries around the world. So for me, it really started because of how poor the healthcare is out here in Africa. My father died due to some medical negligence, and it was very hard for me to understand why it happened in that manner. And for me, I was like, we could have prevented it. It could have happened differently. But because it was, I guess, the manner in which it happened made me more conscious and made me more aware of our systems and how we need to change and how we need to develop, and how it starts with just individuals being more aware of, first of all, health insurance, because people don't, there's none of that out here. Health insurance and just the basics, like condomizing is number one, but also it helps with like other forms of STIs, and for young women it helps in reducing your chances of acquiring the HPV, then human papilloma. Well, I can't say HPV virus,
Yeah.
so it's not even me trying to be like, oh my God, I'm so social conscious, whatever, I'm so educated. No, it's me just trying to educate myself and involving the young people around me in the education of thyself.
That's really cool. Somebody told me
Yeah.
that one time too. I asked somebody, about their work educating people, and he said, no, don't get it twisted. I'm not educating anybody else. I'm educating myself. I
Right.
can't teach anybody else, but if they want to come along for the ride with me, then I'll bring them along. So I like that a lot.
Cool. Yeah, and inadvertently, I've had like a bunch of people who are interested in it too, and so for me, it's like, oh, super. Like, yay! It's nice to know that young people are also still curious about healthcare, and it's still a priority in Africa, where most of the time it isn't.
Hmm.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, thanks so much for talking to me. I know you got to go start your radio show here, but I think that that'd probably be a good way for people to see what Tanzania is really like, is to listen to your show or watch your video. So where can people find you?
So you can follow me on Twitter at Vanessamde, that's VANESSANDEE, or on Instagram, same thing, VANESSANDEE. I'm very active on those two. I'm also on Facebook, same name, Facebook.com/VANESSANDEE. Or listen to the show, listen live at www.choicefm.co.
Cool. I will put that up on the show notes, and thank you so
Oh,
much.
of this.
What's that?
My manager said I have to take a screen capture, so I was gonna say smile, but your video never came up.
I know. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hey, we'll keep in touch and let me know how I can, see this and push this. And I really, really admire the work you're doing. I've checked out the website; it's really cool.
Cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will. I'll send you a link.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
So there you have it, Vanessa from Tanzania. Today you guys were lucky enough to get a full screen shot of our guest in Tanzania. Didn't have to look at me the whole time. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that she's somebody that just totally changes your perceptions about Tanzania and then Africa in general. She's got those big, thick glasses and her colorful clothing. She could just as easily be just a hipster here in Portland, Oregon, where I live. So it was a lot of fun talking to her, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will tune in shortly for more interviews. Thanks.